Hi. Oh, this works. Wow. Okay. That was awesome. It's so good to see you. I'm so cold. Are y'all freezing, or am I the only one? I'm like shaking. I'm excited to be here. First of all, thank you to Justin and his amazing team for such an incredible day and pulling together such a diverse group of speakers. But what I've recognized while we're sitting here all during the day listening to everybody is how similar our stories are and what our messages are. And it's funny because none of us talked about what we were going to share today. And so I'm like, being at the end of the day, they're probably going to be thinking, oh, Elizabeth just took a bunch of notes and is going to reiterate what they said. So I'm not, I promise, I'm going to have my notes to keep me on track. I'm a rule follower. I don't like that this could turn red on me if I'm over my time. So I'm just going to kind of stay on a task here. But I truly believe in the power of stories, right? I think stories are amazing because they're relatable, they connect us, they create emotion. And I think every single speaker that spoke today has shared their story in some way, right? And I think it's so much more powerful than just getting up here and talking about how great you are and what you've done and all these other things. It's really when you start getting into the meat and being vulnerable that we see the real side and how we can connect with those people. So since this is a business conference, we'll talk about and history of real estate. We'll talk about that for a little bit. History of real estate, if you think about it, back in the 1800s, it was all male-dominated, right? It's been male-dominated for such a long time. And guys, I see you, but ladies, I'm really going to be talking to you mostly today, okay? 1800s, mostly men, but really, who was the driving force to that success? Women, right? The women were the secretaries. They were behind the scenes. They were preparing everybody. We were the listeners, right? We had the emotional intelligence that's very, very different than men. Not wrong, not better, just very different. It allows us to operate and lead in different ways. So I thought it was so interesting that all these years, even probably 20 or 25 years ago, it was still male-dominated. Or because women really weren't seen as leaders in the business or real true business owners. Who were the women in real estate back then? Bored housewives, right? People who just wanted a hobby, just kind of dabbling a little bit. We weren't really seen as leaders, but that has changed, and that's so amazing. 60%, 65% actually, in our statistics state, of women, of real estate agents are women. Y'all, that's huge. How much business do women represent? About 60%. So we now have the opportunity, and we're taking those opportunities to say, hey, we are amazing in our business. We bring such value to the table. And so how can we just raise our hands? I'm afraid I'm going to fall off the stage, y'all. I'll just stand still. How about that? Let's just stand still. Hold on. I went the wrong direction. Oh, man. How do I go back? How do I go back? Close your eyes. Close your eyes. All right. Now we've raised our hands and we said, okay, you know what? We are serious. Take us serious. We're top real estate agents. And what's beautiful about our industry is there is no glass ceiling. The sky is the limit. That wasn't the case in corporate America. That wasn't a case 20, 25 years ago, and now this is our time. So how do we do that as women? Okay, how do we do that in this industry? Well, first of all, and a lot of similarities, like I mentioned, is who are you, right? Share your story. Talk to people. Brené Brown is one of my favorite leaders. And she talks about vulnerability quite a bit. And vulnerability is a strength, not a weakness. When you understand that, the sky's the limit. When you understand that, you can really, really earn those relationships. And once you earn those relationships is when you earn the business, right? Not the other way around. I don't know who said it. I think it was Dustin talking about that. So many times we ask for the business. We have no right to ask for the business. We haven't earned that relationship yet. So what's your story? Okay? Be vulnerable. Talk about who you really are, not what social media shows you to be. We all put up that pretty face. For me, I'm a mother of 4. Okay? I work because it makes me a better mom. Sometimes I say I'm a mother of 5 because of my husband, but we won't go there. That's a whole other conversation, and I adore him. I'm a business owner. I'm an award-winning agent. I did $35 million or so last year as an independent agent while traveling the country, while taking care of my family. all 100% referral based. Okay? I've got it all together. I'm a lover of my community, and everybody says I'm Wonder Woman. Right? Okay. Let's talk about who I really am, though. I grew up with feelings of inadequacy all my life. Okay? I grew up oldest of 6. My family opened their home to 140 foster children in 20 years. So from the age of second grade, 7 or 8 years old, all I knew was chaos. And here's the reality. When you live in that, we had a lot of love to give. I didn't understand that for a long time. It took me a long time into my adulthood to really understand that. But I had no voice growing up. I had no voice because how dare I ask for anything when we have these children who are suffering in such a way? We had all the high-risk cases. We had children that were thrown out of third-story buildings, boyfriends who lit their girlfriends' children on fire. These are horrific cases that I grew up with. So how dare I ask for anything? And so because of that, I felt like I was not worth anything. I had no say. I had no importance. I also grew up, before that, my parents were divorced. I should say that backwards. My stepfather and my mother had the foster children. During that time, too, my 30-year-old sister was diagnosed with leukemia. We had nothing. I grew up with nothing. To this day, I cannot eat spaghetti or peanut butter or jelly or pancakes, right? But we never went without. I never thought we went without. But now that I'm a grown-up and I'm an adult, I knew what we really didn't have. But my father, my real father, my biological father, I did not really know. He was a severe alcoholic. My dad had his demons. He was an older father. My dad was military. He fought in Vietnam. He fought in a number of wars, and he had a lot of his demons because of that, and he was a severe alcoholic. And he was very intimidating to me. So I thought, to be a leader, you had to be mean. You had to be loud. You had to be intimidating. And I wanted no part of that. So I was fine just being in the shadows. And then you enter my mother, again, which I did not see as a leader at the time, but now I understand that my mom was really the servant leader. We had a lot of love to give for those families. And my mom apologizes to me all the time now, and I tell her, please don't apologize. You were doing the best you could with what you had, and you opened your home, and look at the lives that you touched. 140 children, y'all, in 20 years, right? So now I feel guilty growing up with that resentment, if you will. It wasn't until high school I moved down to live with my real dad to really get to know him, and I understood what my mom sheltered me from for so many years. The abuse, verbal and physical, the rage, the fact that I was not good enough and I would never be good enough. He told me as such. Right? I wasn't a boy, so what value did I have? When I became a real estate agent, I didn't become a real estate agent because I wanted to be a real estate agent. My husband and I were investors, and I became a real estate agent and I loved it, and I was like, this is my calling, right? This is amazing. I get to serve people. I get to help people. And my dad told me, he goes, I can't believe I spent all that money on you in college. You're just a damn realtor. I was like, Dad, what do you think I do? So from that moment on, actually even earlier, I spent every single day trying to prove to my dad and everybody else that I was worth it. Every day. And even to the day when he died 8 years ago from drinking himself to death, I still tried to prove to my dad. But why am I telling you all that? Is because we look like we all have it together, and we don't. What happens when you own that? What happens when you're vulnerable? That's where the growth is. You might be fearful, but on the other side of fear is growth, right? So when you start shifting your mindset and your focus, it opens up opportunities. So I want to tell you all a story. I love stories. Does anybody know who Jen Hatmaker is? Okay, one of my favorite women in leadership as well. She told a story, and I just realized that David Yarrow is the one who took this photo. I didn't give him photo credit, so don't get me in trouble, please. But I said it out loud. Anyway, I attended her conference years and years ago, and there's always those people where you hear something and it sticks with you forever. She told a story about the elephants. See, in the wild, elephants are majestic. They're huge. They're beautiful. They're gentle giants. But what's amazing is they're incredibly protective. The female elephants are incredibly protective. When an elephant has a baby or an elephant is injured, what happens is all of these female elephants go into formation with that sick or injured or new baby, or that mom having a new baby in the middle and protecting them so nobody from the outside can see, right? They protect them from predators, they protect them from whatever they need to do, the weather, and then they kick dirt and all these things over that baby to protect the baby. But then what they do is they trumpet and they celebrate and they make everybody know about this new baby, right? That's amazing to me. As women, we have that opportunity. So think about those times when you're so vulnerable and you're in the middle. That's when I started recognizing my strength. That's when I started recognizing that I had something to offer and that I was a leader, but sometimes I was going to be in the middle, and I needed those people to surround me. And sometimes I was going to be on the outside protecting the others. As women, we need to lift others as we climb. And I don't know that we do that enough, and I think this is our opportunity, right? So as you get to one mountaintop, you're at the bottom of another, and you keep climbing, and it's really, really slow and lonely by yourself. My husband always would say, real estate's not a team sport. I disagree. I do so much better when I'm surrounded by greatness and people that are showing me things in different ways. So I thought the elephant story was amazing because as women, we have a huge opportunity. So with that, develop your board of directors. And here's what's interesting. My 8-year-old decided to help me with this presentation, my youngest. And we were looking for photos, and most of the board of directors photos were all men. So that's why mine just has seats, because I think we need to change that, ladies. Okay? So what do I mean by board of directors? Who are the people surrounding you? Who are the people building you up? I used to try to find acceptance by having lots and lots and lots of friends. The more friends, I would collect the friends, because the more friends I had, the more worth I had. Make sense? What I realized as I got older is not everybody is good for you. Not everybody deserves your energy. Not everybody needs to be in your space. Okay? So what happens is when you develop your board of directors, you find those people that aren't necessarily going to tell you what you want to hear. They're the ones that are going to be honest with you. They don't have to be just women, by the way, men. Like Brian White's one of my board of directors, right? I can call him. He'll answer the phone. This is what I'm struggling with. How do we help each other out? So create your board of directors, and if you're not surrounded by the right people, it's okay for that board of directors to change. It's okay to outgrow them. It's okay to change rooms. Proximity is power. If you're not in the right rooms, move rooms. That took me forever to figure out, because I don't ever want to hurt anybody's feelings. I'm a rule follower. I want everybody to be kumbaya. But what was happening is it was taking away from me, and I was being depleted. Okay? So sometimes, here's the other thing. Sometimes you have to believe in somebody more than they believe in themselves. I've had people believe in me more than I believed in me. I believe in others more than they believe in themselves. And it makes such a big difference. I also was challenged with the fact that I obviously can't control a clicker, right? I was told a lot of times I was lucky. And I didn't think I deserved that. Lucky to me meant non-deserving, and so I would cower. What I recognize, though, is everything I've gone through in my life was a process to get me to where I am today and to get me to where I am tomorrow. So when we talk, for those at EXP, when we talk about EXP, I'm one of 2 women in the top 10 of 81,000 agents. That's great, yes, but why aren't there more of us up there? Right? 65%, you're on your way. 65% of us control the industry. What I'm recognizing, though, is I wasn't lucky. I earned a relationship early on to have a conversation with somebody that changed my life and many, 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 many others. That wasn't luck. And for the longest time, I didn't feel like it was deserving. But now I recognize I have a voice to empower and inspire others, and that's an opportunity and a responsibility, right? So, determine what success means to you and lean in. Okay? I love this quote from Eleanor Roosevelt. Do what you feel in your heart is right, for you'll be criticized anyway. For so long, I was so concerned about, well, I got to do this, or what are they going to think? And it doesn't matter what I do, right or wrong. They're going to criticize you. What success to me is different than what success to you. And here's a beautiful thing. You can inspire and encourage other people on their journey, no matter if it's in alignment with what your journey is. Here's what success is to me. I keep thinking that's my timing, going, oh my gosh, they're going to pull me from the stage. They didn't pull John, they won't pull me, right? Here's success to me. I have built everything I have for others. Money does not give me happiness. I grew up with nothing. I grew up with no money. I didn't know what money would have. My dad did not pay, I found this out years later, but my dad never paid child support, but he would always send things monetarily, like bikes and things like that, to try and buy our love. Okay? So for me, I had a real issue with money. I have a real hard time with money and wealth. So when I stepped into money and wealth, I wasn't really sure what to do with that. So I like to just give away a lot of it, and I like to empower and surprise others and do other things for other people. So for me, success is this. During COVID, we talked about this. Everybody had challenges. And when you make a certain amount of money, once you get past that and you're out of the pain, what's your purpose? And I'm really passionate about my purpose. And my purpose is helping other people. My purpose is finding my passion. My purpose is the foster system. There's all these different things. When COVID hit, though, my husband was with Dell Computer for 25 years. He was the global director. And he would travel to Dubai and South Africa and all these other places. So I would always joke saying I was a single mom, but really I had benefits and I had a husband and income. So single mom has the hardest job in the world. But when the pandemic hit, what happens with global anything? It shut down. So what I found is my husband was sitting in his office day after day, night after night, but he's on the calls at 3 in the morning and 4 in the morning because the sales still have to continue. He's still having conversations with Dubai. And I saw all of our relationships shattering. Here's a time where we're all together as a family, but I saw us moving further apart. Why? Because my husband's light was dimming. And I went to one of the conferences and I saw a lot of the guys that I absolutely respect and admire. And all of the guys were talking about how their wives stayed home and all these other things. I'm like, well, why didn't the guys do that? So I came home and I said, what if I retired you? And he looked at me like I was crazy. He's like, what are you talking about? And I said, you're losing your passion. We're losing our relationship with you, right? Your children are begging for your time. What if I retired you? And this took a while. I was like, is it an ego thing? He's like, yeah, that's kind of hard. Like, okay, well, just pray on that. Think about that. Pray on that. And then he comes back to me a couple of days later. He's like, you remember you asked me about that? Mm-hmm. He's like, so what about healthcare? I have all the benefits. I was like, well, we have Clearwater benefits, EXP is healthcare. Don't give a listing agent an objection. I'm going to win every single time. I'm like, okay, what you got next? So we talked about it, and here's the cool thing. May 21st of last year, I retired my husband from corporate America. Cool? I'm a very private person, but what I told him, and we are a very private family, what I told him is I said, but you have to let me share that story because I want to empower others to do the same. Every single one of us in here, whatever our story is and whatever our journey is we can do that for our families. Now, I joke with him, I'm like, you got to find something to do because there's a lot of home time with my husband. But he's there. He's like Mr. Mom. He's on the Booster Club. He's involved. He's building the relationships with my 4 children who are 16, 13, 11, and 8 that he didn't have before. Right? That is changing my world. That's success to me. Okay? What else is success? Success is my parents, again, who had nothing, who gave so much for so many. My sister, who had leukemia at 3 years old, almost bankrupted my family. She lost her leg. That's a whole other story. My niece died 2 years ago from leukemia. It's just heart-wrenching for my family. But what I saw is my parents gave so much that they had nothing left. And my parents are in their 70s. Now, this is my mom and my stepdad. My stepdad was more my dad than my dad ever was. Right? So I refer to him as my father. He took on a role. He took on 2 children that he did not have to take on and love as his very, very own. That's the biggest job in the world. So, on their 43rd wedding anniversary earlier this year on March 24th, my husband and I sat on a Zoom call with them. And my mom has this passion project in in Green River, Wyoming. My mom lives in Wyoming. And she wants to build or rebuild this school that will be a home for single moms. She's got this amazing heart. And so she's trying to get donations, $1,000 donations. And I said, Mom, we want to get on a Zoom call with you. So my mom is all excited thinking we're going to give her $1,000. And I said, this is what we want to do. I said, you've given us so much with so little. We just paid off your mortgage. So because of the blessings that we've been given, I just gave my parents freedom that they've never seen and they'd never had before. And just because I can. That's success to me, right? Buying a house in Park City, Utah, that I'm not going to rent because we have plenty of rental properties and I'm tired of having property that I can't use. I bought a house without my husband seeing it or knowing it in Park City, Utah, and my husband said, oh, we're going to rent it out? I said, nope, we're going to celebrate my agents. I said, we're buying this for two reasons. Number one, we're going to donate it to charity. And we're going to do it in auctions, and we're going to let families use this. I said, number two, when my agents succeed, so we have a program called ICON. ICON's hard, y'all, right? We work hard, and it affects our families. So I said, when we get to ICON, each of my agents are going to use the house for a week. They're going to go play hard with their family. That's why we're buying this home. That's success to me. Right? So you have to define what your own success is. It's not about the money. And I'm only sharing these things with you not to brag, and I don't say anything. John Pugh actually encouraged me behind. He goes, you've got to share this. It's just to encourage y'all of what's possible. Okay? Understanding that there's no definition of a leader. Leading by example rather than position is what distinguishes a person as a leader. We don't have titles. A mother is a leader. A teacher is a leader. A single mom is a leader. Anybody in any role serving other people is a leader. I think too many times we stand behind titles and we get intimidated by what somebody's title is or what they do. Don't do that. I say all the time, and you've heard it multiple times today, comparison kills joy. Okay? As women, we are leaders. Okay? As women, we are self-aware. We have our eyes on the future, but we remain present to execute when necessary. We listen, we respond, we hold each other accountable, we encourage, we bring out the best in others with empathy, and I think we can do a lot with a little. So leading isn't always comfortable, but I want to encourage each of you to get out of your comfort zone. And I know so many people who say, I'm not a leader. You are a leader in your own right. And once you embrace that, you're going to change the world and you're going to empower others. We need to observe and listen more. So each of us, I don't know what my next slide is. Oh, there we go. Each of us needs to define what success looks like and move forward. So ladies, I want you to keep raising your hands. I want to see you at the tables. We deserve a place at the table. And I want each and every one of you to be the elephant in the room. Thank you for sharing some time with me this evening.